All right, for the second lesson, let's talk about what type of guitar you should get if you don't have one, and what you should use as a beginner. Now, there's two kinds. You have an electric guitar, which is electric. It's got to be plugged into an amplifier, right? And then you also have an acoustic guitar, right? The acoustic guitar doesn't require an amplifier. It'll make its own sounds. See? So there's two things you need to think about when you're picking your first guitar if you don't already have one. The most important of which is playability. Without a doubt, electrics are easier to play. So if you don't have a preference, style-wise, go for an electric, because by their very nature, the action on the guitar, or what's known as the distance from the guitar string to the guitar neck, that's called the action, is much lower on an electric. On an acoustic, it's a little higher, just by the nature of the very instrument. The strings are thicker, and so therefore the strings are a little further up from the fretboard, which means you're going to have to press a little harder to get them down. So if you want to play acoustic music, and you know that's what you're into, you want to do the campfire thing, and you just love the acoustic guitar, buy one. There's no reason not to buy one. It's not that much harder. But if you don't have a preference, I strongly encourage an electric. The second thing to consider is price. With an electric, you're going to have to buy amplifier. You're going to have to buy cables. You're going to have to buy many more things, where an acoustic guitar, it makes its own sound. It's a done deal, right? So let's talk about how to get your guitar. And this is very important. The most important thing when buying your guitar is, how does it feel? I strongly encourage you to go to your local guitar store and play a lot of guitars. And even if you don't know how to play yet, you're going to know right away when you pick it up, that neck's too thick. Oh, it's too thin and flimsy. Oh, the strings are way too high above the fretboard. It's too hard to push down. Oh, wow, I really like the feel of that. The feel is much more important than the sound. The feel is much more important than the sound. And the last little tidbit I'll give you is that used guitars are not like used cars. Used gear is fantastic. So it's important to not buy a cheap guitar for your first guitar. Now, I say cheap as in quality, not as price. A lot of these guitars, like this acoustic I have here, this is 20 years old, but it's a fantastic guitar, and I bought it at a pawn shop. I highly, highly recommend going to local pawn shops, going to your guitar stores, and checking out used gear. And again, buy the one that feels the best to you. And so for this video, if you want, show us your guitar. I'd love to see it, and I'll see you in the next lesson.